run out, my will was changed that I wanted to preach
Amen.
the gospel. In other words, God says, I called you and you're going to preach no matter what. And I'm thankful that my will was changed, that I won the battle within me. 2 Corinthians 8:12 says, if there be first a willing mind, it is accepted according to that a man hath, and not according to what he has not. Now this is talking about giving here. Not everybody has to give, but if you've got a willing mind to give, God's going to provide something for you to give.
Amen.
If you've got a willing mind to teach, then God's going to make sure that you get to teach.
Amen.
If you got a willing mind, you see, it all depends upon the will. Peter said in Peter 5:2-4, says, feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, you will receive a crown of glory that fades not away. Not by constraint, but willingly. Isaiah says in chapter 1, verse 19, if you be willing and obedient. There has to be a battle fought of the will and then obedience. I guarantee you, if the will hasn't been conquered, then obedience isn't going to come. Now, I'm going to tell y'all folks that have children something. And you're not, some of you might not like what I'm fixing to say. The government sure doesn't like what I'm fixing to say. Until you break a child's will, that child will never follow you perfectly in its heart. Until you break a child's will. I guarantee you, I love little Rosie with all my heart. But that kid's got one of the strongest wills I've ever seen in a little girl. And that will's going to have to be broke. Now, in education system, in our government, they say that we're supposed to feed the will, to see where they're going to blossom. Well, I know where they're going to blossom. They're going to be brats. That's what they're going to be. I know where they're going to blossom. They're going to be the ones that go into the bars and all that kind of stuff, because the will hasn't been tamed. I had to chase Rena's will, because every time I was going to give her a whipping, she run in circles. And whippings isn't, by the way, the only thing to break a child's will. Now then, let's refer that to us Christians. If God doesn't break the will, we're not ever going to serve Him in a manner that's pleasing to Him. It must be. The battle must be won in the will of man. And I'm thankful that I had parents that broke my will. I didn't like it, but they did. Because physically having or mentally having my will broken made it a lot easier for me to submit unto God.
Amen.
Folks, this world has done our youth a great injustice by feeding their will instead of breaking it.
Yes.
And God help us that we continue to raise up children that are going to be children that follow after God. And the only way that's going to be is that they won't follow their own will. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I had one man in Buffalo Valley that got this, and he's still preaching it today. And I tell you, I'm thankful that one person got it. I think Brother Clifford got it, and maybe some of you got it. And that is this. God didn't save you to sit on a bench. He saved you to give you a ministry. And if you're not following the ministry that God gave you, then you are doing your will and not God's.
That's right.
If you do not know what ministry God calls you to, then something's wrong in your will. Because God didn't save you to just praise His name.
Yeah.
He praised you to go to work. Now, for mamas, that work begins at home. For daddies, that work begins at home. And then it goes on to other avenues.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Jesus put it this way. If you just give a cup of water in my name, then you're going to receive that reward. Now, what is that if that is not a ministry?
Mm-hmm.
If you can just open the door, that's all you can do, is just open the door for crippled people at Walmart in the secret place of the wicked. It's a great thought. I don't think I probably did it justice. But where is your will at tonight?
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell this. I don't know if it's the Lord or just my thinking, but I figured out how to pay our $400 water bill. Water in our garden. And the way I figured out is that everybody give me $20 and I'll put your name on 4 watermelons or 4 cantaloupes out there in the garden. Now, if yours don't make it, you're not getting your money back.